Shockingly, we see the king in the afterlife declaring his return as a good guy, with the copium of a sequel living on forever. Nobara asks Yuji about something that isn't shown to us, which is obvious. It's Sukuna's final finger, where Yuji states it isn't dangerous anymore and says it's all good. Now, why does he say that, ABD? Well, we get to see Sukuna talk to Mahito immediately after. And guess what? Yuji's talk no jutsu to Sukuna actually worked. Bruh, I'm telling ya, Yuji's talk no jutsu is just as strong as Naruto. Everyone memes Naruto that he did this with Obito, but at least Obito was foreshadowed to be a good person as he wanted to be Hokage, was in Kakashi's team doing missions, and loved Rin. But Sukuna was literally the devil himself incarnate, committing sin for 1,000 years, being evil for the sake of evil. Yet Yuji's version of talk no jutsu got this oppressor to be a good guy?
He's out of line, but he's right.
And on top of that, he gets away with it scot-free, not going to hell, and can reincarnate? What? But I get it. You're all confused. What does the conversation between Sukuna and Mahito even mean? Well, since Mahito is the actual representation of death in cursed spirit form, remember we were told death is a mirror to humans and Mahito is a reflection of that. It's a fate that humans detest and fear. Even Megami said Sukuna was afraid of death in chapter 268. However, all things linger beyond it through the samsara cycle that the Jujutsu Kaisen world has confirmed to be real, and that is part of Buddhism, right? For example, Sukuna's twin bro was reborn into Yuji's dad, or Jogo confirming that cursed spirits never truly die and come back alive within 100 years or so. So Mahito states that they are in a vestige where souls gather before they walk down to be reborn. He calls out Sukuna for lying, not only to others like Kashimo and Jogo, but even to himself. You know, the whole idea of being individualistic, doing what you want when you want, and never flocking together as birds but living for your own satisfaction. If you didn't know, Mahito is the perfect person to call him out, because even as early as chapter 21, Mahito had the mindset of Sukuna, where he stated, don't limit yourself. If you're hungry, then eat. If you hate, then kill. Do whatever you want. There's no reason to live by such a restrictive philosophy. Don't limit yourself, as morality is subjective. However, in chapter 271, it's revealed that Mahito was able to learn about Sukuna's past and understood everything he did was actually for revenge. As Sukuna told Kashimo in chapter 237, society scorned him for what he was, and at the end of the day, he wanted revenge against those people. Coming out of the womb with a dead and eaten twin instantly labeled him as a monster and the fallen one by the world. His defense was his strength, but the oppression he suffered just by choosing to live made him retaliate and become the curse everyone saw him as. Eventually, Sukuna's way of life was set in stone due to the bad luck he received, like Yuji mentioned in chapter 265. And then, even after ascending to becoming the king of curses as a human, he chose to live the way he always did, which was as a curse. However, Sukuna finally understood that he had two different paths he could have taken, but he feared his curses would stir deep within himself, so he chose the wrong path. We see an illustration with two women and the direction they represent. One of them was Urame and the other one is unknown, possibly his mother or potential lover. Maybe it's the person he mentioned in chapter 248 who Yuji reminded him of. Now in the final chapter, we clearly see Sukuna going north to become a newer version of himself. This is why Yuji states it's all good now, as Sukuna won't be coming back as a curse but live as a human, just like Choso, for example, who repented for his mistakes by living as a curse but then sacrificed himself for his brother Yuji as a human. Mahito then claims the king has gone soft, but he retorts saying obviously because he lost, and in truth he never actually changed, confirming that Yuji was indeed the one who taught him about love after all. And this answers Junpei's question to Yuji. What will he do when there is an evil sorcerer that he has to kill? Yuji presents the idea of saving them. And just like Sukuna said to Yorizu, to him, defeat is death itself. Essentially, this is the death of Sukuna's ego and his ideals shattering, proving that Sukuna was wrong all along, where we then see the finger having a ray of light representing hope shining upon it. So when he claimed love is worthless, no, he's wrong. Love isn't worthless because that's what defeated him, and it was the bonds and friends that worked together to defeat this dude. Now I know you guys are gonna mention, okay, there was a creak sound effect, the door opens slightly, that opens up a door for the sequel, someone probably took this finger, That's like for another day, and that is a possibility for Gege to do, but let me know what you think in the comments. Now, in our interpretation, Sukuna is talking to death itself, and Gege is trying to say it's an inevitable fate that we must understand and navigate. We must face it rather than be afraid of it, as facing death will push you to be greater than you are in life, achieving something good, or live life to the fullest in a meaningful way. And since Mahito said, history is written by the victor, and the truth that will be standing within 100 years would be humans or curses, well, Yuji won in a complete landslide, with the truth being the better choice is to be a good person that can help the world rather than destroy it. However, Jujutsu Kaisen basically reaffirms that evil exists and there is nothing anyone can do about it. It's just an experience of life that a person needs to go through in their own journey of suffering, adhering to the samsara cycle. There is no justice, as after death there isn't any accountability or punishment. Rather, we have the idea of reincarnation, meaning all that will happen is another chance for evil to come back to commit more evil via their bad luck that cannot be controlled, and good people will once again suffer at its hands in this cyclic nature. An example of this will be the new special grade cursed spirits. One day, Mahito and even Jogo will return to cause pain and suffering to the world. They have a form of consciousness and would never really pay for their crimes. If they killed 1,000 people, the worst thing that will happen is getting killed by a sorcerer, and then many years later come back to do the same thing. Mahito is just chilling and having time to sulk whilst he waits to be reincarnated. Meanwhile, the victims of evil will reincarnate to suffer again, an example being Sukuna's brother, who was eaten in the womb, to be reincarnated to fall in love with a woman who died and got taken over by Kenjaku to give birth to a boy he couldn't even raise. Like, there is no justice. Everyone is cursed. This is Jujutsu Kaisen's message. So the real Jujutsu were the friends and memories we made along the way to suffer through life. Yay! So with that sad fact and reality, the real question of Yuki's goal of removing cursed spirits will just be a thought in history that might resurface many centuries down the line. There is literally an infinite amount of future stories for a sequel Jujutsu Kaisen. At the end of the day, the shonen tropes exist for a reason, because sometimes they just provide exactly what the readers want after you built the entire skeleton and themes of a story. Black Clover will have Asta become Wizard King and marry his favorite girl. Luffy will become Pirate King and give everyone more freedom whilst holding a party. It's all very predictable, but extremely satisfying, making us feel that it was all worth it in the end, following the series for years as we get rewarded for it. JJK, on the other hand, subverted expectations, making readers believe that it would execute something in a certain manner. But because it was confined to the shonen genre, it ended up executing a happy ending that was extremely rushed, with gaping holes of open-ended questions that the fans expected to be answered. Jujutsu Kaisen will be remembered for its squandered potential. It could have had immense world building, insane emotional moments with meaningful characters, and amazing arcs. Where's the Heian-era arc, right? So the actual question is, why do shonen mostly have bad endings? But I'll leave that for another video. I give Jujutsu Kaisen's ending a 5.5 out of 10, and overall the manga as a whole is a 8 out out of 10. But this rating might change upon another read or in the future if a sequel is announced, since it recontextualizes all the chapters. So let me know what your opinion is in the comments below, and enjoy this video of Peak Fiction where we explain the entire story of Hunter x Hunter after the anime.